99% of men never do this, yet it's exactly the thing that naturally draws women in. It may sound a little exaggerated at first, but take a moment to think about it. How many men have you seen who are good-looking, confident, and even financially successful, yet still struggle to create real, meaningful connections with women? The reality is that it's not about appearance, wealth, or social status. What many men fail to notice are the small but incredibly powerful habits that make a person unforgettable. These are the subtle nuances that operate beneath the surface of conscious awareness, the quiet signals that speak directly to a woman's emotional core without her even realizing what's happening. And the most frustrating part for most men is that these habits are not complicated. They don't require expensive gifts, elaborate plans, or years of practice. They simply require awareness, intention, and a willingness to step outside the shallow patterns that most men fall into. Clears throat. Today, I'm going to reveal 5 things women secretly long for, even though they rarely express them directly. These aren't the usual cliché flirting techniques, but subtle psychological triggers rooted in human nature and timeless Stoic wisdom that can completely transform the way a woman sees you and experiences your presence. If you haven't understood these principles yet, then you're missing out on the type of attraction that stays in her thoughts long after you've left. And that's the kind of attraction that truly matters, not the fleeting interest that disappears the moment you're out of sight, but the deep, lingering impression that makes her remember you weeks and even months later. Before we continue, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the insights that could change everything. Discover more social sciences, translation tools, and resources YouTube transcript tool for you. Let's begin. The first secret, the power of touch before intimacy. Picture yourself on a date. The conversation is flowing comfortably. You're both laughing and everything feels smooth, yet something still seems missing. There's a subtle indication that the connection hasn't fully developed. You walk her home, send a text later, and then nothing. No response. This is where most men make a mistake. They believe attraction is created only through words, humor, fascinating stories, or clever conversation. But human connection is far more complex than that. Women connect not only with what you say, but with how they feel when they're around you. Your energy, your presence, and your physical awareness. One of the most overlooked ways to strengthen that emotional connection is through touch. Not aggressive or forceful touch, but touch that feels natural, gentle, and respectful. A light, non-sexual touch before intimacy can completely shift the dynamic. A soft touch on her arm, a gentle hand on the lower back, or briefly holding her hand. Small gestures like these often communicate more than endless words ever could. Without speaking, they say, "I care about you. You're safe with me. I'm fully present right now." The biggest error men make is linking touch to expectations. They touch because they want something in return, and women can sense that intention immediately. Instead of creating comfort, it creates pressure. But when a man can offer touch without expecting anything back, he stands apart. He becomes someone who creates a feeling of safety, and safety is the foundation of genuine attraction. Think about it for a moment. When you touch her arm while making a point, or guide her gently through a crowd with your hand on her back, you're not just making physical contact, you're communicating that you are a leader, a protector, and someone who is in tune with her presence. It's a silent language that transcends words, and it's one that women have been responding to on an instinctual level for centuries. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Stop arguing about what a good man is. Be one. Remain calm, centered, and self-aware." Most men never truly understand this principle, which is why they struggle to build meaningful connections. But the men who do understand it become unforgettable because they understand that attraction is not a transaction. It is an experience, and that experience begins with how you make her feel in the smallest, quietest moments. The second secret, the art of flirting with respect. Many men tend to fall into one of two extremes. Either they flirt so much that they appear desperate, or they hold themselves back so much that they never show interest at all. The truth exists somewhere in the middle. Women enjoy flirting when it feels natural, respectful, and confident. It's not about memorizing pickup lines or trying hard to impress, it's about energy. It's about creating a relaxed, warm, and playful atmosphere that flows naturally, like a dance that generates both comfort and curiosity at the same time. For instance, if she mentions that she loves Italian food, most men will simply agree and move on to another topic. But a man who understands subtle flirting might smile and say, "Are you sure about that? Maybe you've never tasted my version." It's a simple statement, yet it adds personality and creates an opening for a deeper, more engaging interaction. One of the biggest mistakes many men make is flirting in search of validation. They say something playful and then anxiously wait to see if she's impressed. Ironically, that need for approval is exactly what weakens attraction. Real confidence appears when you can enjoy the interaction without becoming overly attached to the result. Eye contact plays a major role as well. Hold her gaze for a moment, then casually look away before returning your attention to her eyes. That small amount of tension creates curiosity and communicates that you're calm, comfortable, and fully present rather than nervous. This balance is what makes a person genuinely attractive. It's the ability to show interest without neediness, to express desire without desperation, and to create intrigue without manipulation. And this is where Stoic philosophy becomes incredibly valuable. The Stoics understood that true confidence comes from within, from knowing your own worth independent of anyone else's opinion. When you internalize that truth, flirting becomes effortless because you're no longer trying to prove anything. You're simply sharing your authentic self with another person, and that authenticity is magnetic. The third secret, the power of active listening. This may sound simple, but in a world where everyone is distracted and constantly waiting for their turn to speak, genuine listening has become a rare and precious gift. When you truly listen to a woman without interrupting, without immediately offering solutions, without turning the conversation back to yourself, you are giving her something that most men never give her. You are giving her your full, undivided attention, and that is profoundly attractive. Think about how it feels when someone truly listens to you, when they ask thoughtful questions that show they've been paying attention, when they remember details you mentioned earlier, when you feel like what you're saying actually matters. That feeling is powerful and it creates a bond that goes far beyond surface level attraction. Most men listen only to respond. They're already formulating their next point while she's still speaking. They're not really present. They're just waiting. But when you can listen with genuine curiosity and empathy, you become someone she can trust. You become someone who sees her, not just her appearance, but her thoughts, her feelings, and her experiences. And as Epictetus once said, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. This ancient wisdom is more relevant today than ever before. Women are constantly bombarded with men who want to talk about themselves, impress them with achievements, or convince them of something. A man who simply listens, who cares about what she has to say, who asks meaningful questions and remembers the answers, is a man who stands out from the crowd. He becomes the one she wants to talk to, the one she feels comfortable opening up to, the one she remembers when she thinks about who truly understands her. The fourth secret, emotional stability in uncertain moments. There will always be moments when things don't go according to plan. She might be late, she might disagree with you, or her mood might shift unexpectedly. These moments are tests, not in a manipulative sense, but tests of character. They reveal who you really are when things aren't perfectly smooth. Most men react quickly. They get anxious, defensive, or frustrated. They let the external situation dictate their internal state. A man of emotional stability behaves differently. He pauses. He doesn't let the situation control his emotions. He remains calm and responds with clarity, rather than reacting from impulse. He raises his voice, doesn't become passive-aggressive, doesn't make her feel like she's walking on eggshells. This calm energy creates a sense of safety and stability that women deeply appreciate, even if they never say it out loud. In a world that is increasingly chaotic and unpredictable, a man who can remain steady when everything else is unstable is a rare find. He is someone she can rely on, someone she can trust to handle the challenges of life with grace and strength. Seneca wrote, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." This is the essence of emotional stability, the ability to be fully present without being thrown off course by uncertainty. And this quality is deeply attractive because it signals that you are not easily shaken, that you have a strong internal foundation, and that you can be depended upon when life gets difficult. The fifth and final secret, knowing when to step back. This is perhaps the most counterintuitive principle of all, and yet it is often the most powerful. A man who knows his worth does not chase endlessly. He does not beg for attention or compromise his principles just to keep someone in his life. He understands that his time, energy, and attention have value, and he does not give them away freely to anyone who does not reciprocate respect and effort. When you can step back, not out of anger or spite, but out of self-respect, you communicate something profound. You communicate that you are not dependent on anyone else for your sense of worth. You communicate that you have a full life, your own purpose, your own goals, and your own happiness. And that independence is incredibly attractive. Desperation repels, but self-respect draws in. This is a fundamental truth of human psychology. When you show that you are okay, even without a particular person in your life, the pressure disappears. And in that space, curiosity grows. She wonders why you're not chasing. She wonders what makes you so secure. And that curiosity is the beginning of genuine attraction. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside of events. Realize this and you will find strength." This is the ultimate secret, not needing a woman's validation to feel complete, but choosing to share your life with someone because you want to, not because you have to. That is the kind of man who leaves an unforgettable impression, the kind of man she remembers long after he's gone, and the kind of man who doesn't need to chase because he is the prize. And once you understand these 5 principles and integrate them into your life, you will never be the same, and neither will the way women experience your presence.